Hey, real estate agents, listen up. Are you worried about the high interest rates, low inventory, and less transactions out there for you to close more deals and make the money that you need? Well, listen up. I got the framework for you in this Level Up Your Lead Gen, where we're going to be focusing on how you're going to scale up your message, capture leads, retarget those leads, and how you can pull them through and take those strangers and turn them into clients. All right, well, good morning, good afternoon, good day, all that fun stuff as always. I am, as usual, really pumped and jazzed to be here with you guys because guess what? I know that so many of you right now are concerned with the market and really kind of what's going on. There's so many people with whether it be masterminds or even just, in conversations with agents that there's a lot of strife, right? And a lot of people right now, they just flat out say it's hard out there. And so what I want to do today is I want to introduce you guys and walk you through a step-by-step framework of how we are going to fight through this. How are you going to get strangers to want to work with you? How do you turn strangers to clients, right? So those are going to be some frameworks that we are going to go through today, and I'm going to open up the toolbox that's up inside of Zoodealio. And also, I'm really excited as this was part of the last update that came out about a week and a half ago, along with Blast, is partial lead capture. Now, those of you that are advertisers, this is a massive deal because as soon as they enter in that address, it registers, right? And not only that, we're able to capture the data on that specific property. So then the framework from there is we want to reverse look up that lead and then be able to nurture them and pull them through. Curious question for you guys. Have you personally started to see a slowdown in your business? When I say that, I don't mean just transactions. I mean conversations with homeowners, home buyers. Curious question for you guys. Are you nervous about this, really the compensation for buyers agents lawsuit that's going on? It started out last week, and we read a lot of the I guess kind of minute entries, if you will. I know Gary Keller was found on this stand and seemed to be testy per some of the articles that I had read, where he was questioning around some of the scripts that really kind of was inside of their, I believe, an Ignite training program that they had, to where ultimately it was coaching the agent on how to navigate the agent to tell the homeowner it was a bad idea to try to cut the buyer's agent commission because the property was less likely to be shown and it would be lower on the list, right? And so that didn't really bode well for this particular lawsuit. And ultimately, a lot of homeowners out there talking about that are participating in this, or one part of the class action lawsuit, that they're ultimately paying a buyer's representative to negotiate against themselves. So very interesting times that we are in, and curious to know what you guys think about it, how you see it affecting your business, and or do you see it affecting your business? Do you see this as an opportunity, right? Another thing I want to get everybody's feedback on. We did a little bit of research, prior to the podcast last week, and we found some pretty reliable sources that if some of these things pull through, that they think that we could see the agent population be cut as much as 60%. Now, guys, that's there's 1.5 million active real estate agents out there. So again, if we were to drop at that particular level, that's a pretty interesting thing, right? Now, is that good? Is that bad? Is it right? Is it wrong? I don't know. I think that kind of remains to be seen. The other thing I know I want to be throwing out here, and I'm just kind of throwing all the shade at us today, is there's a lot of predictions that over the next 12 months, we're only going to be doing roughly 4 million transactions. Now, those of you guys, that's obviously nationwide. And those of you that aren't aware of this, in 2021, it was 6 million, right? I mean, in 2022, it was close to 6 million, or maybe it was 22. I may have it was roughly 6 million in those particular years. And then of course it's been, starting to slide ever since. These rates have definitely been climbing. The affordability is down. Heck, at 8% interest rates with a $500,000 house, like, here in the Phoenix Metro Valley, those payments are, knocking on the door of $4,000. So it's pretty turbulent and interesting times. How do we navigate this? How do we create affordability? I want to give you guys the ability to find clients through strangers, right? Let's grow our influence in the marketplace by giving things of value, by ultimately being that confidant and positioning yourself as that advisor that they're looking for. Because I don't know about you, but I definitely want to be a part of those 4 million transactions that go on. I challenge you to find your numbers in your particular area and see if you are going to be getting about a 30% hit, right? What are your local predictions in your actual transaction count, right? So, and this is several coaching sessions ago, one of the things I really wanted to focus on. If you really are willing to look at some of the numbers, and those of us that are on here are the everyday practitioners. So a lot of times when there's the thatching in real estate, the transaction count and the agent body count, believe it or not, a lot of those agents that roll in, get their business, do a deal with their friend, sell their own house, etc. They gobble up a lot of transactions when you really look at it on an annual basis. So by staying in the game and constantly prospecting, marketing, and advertising for not only your existing clients, focusing on people that you know, but also focusing on growing your database, right? What top of funnel strategies do I have to create awareness around a value proposition? Why would somebody want to work with me? What items of value, such as blast market reports on your particular property, can I give compelling information to my prospective clients so that they want to register and engage with my information that I'm going to be giving out to them weekly or even monthly, right? So these are some of the things I want to walk you guys through. Today, I want to show you guys some frameworks of how we want to get strangers to want to work with you. Right? I need you to first to ask yourself that question, right? Rather than just letting this be another day of information and a coaching session that you're on, let's start letting these things in and ask yourself, how do I get strangers to want to work with me, right? So let's look at a couple of these frameworks, because at the end of the day, right, even if we were to go on a corner in a super busy intersection, and you were standing there with business cards and trying to hand that out, right? Let's just say you got 400, 500, even let's go off the deep end, 1,000. Well, guess what? I'm going to give you some context and some frameworks that you'll actually be able to crush those numbers. Not only that, because of them being by, and hey, I'm Elliot, I'm a real estate agent. If you need to look at a buy, sell, or invest, here you go. Here's my card, right? First of all, that's not a value add, right? That's just me standing there being almost kind of like an ambulance chaser. And I'm just using this as something that came to me as a point of reference. But my point is, guys, is even when you're going to an area where people are right there in front of you, these are things that I want to introduce you to some strategies of where marketing and advertising really should be the core functionalities. Then from there, we're prospecting enhanced. Okay, so we want to have systems and processes in place so that I get people to engage. Now I have an engaged lead, right? Raising my hand. They're interested. They're taking action. You're capturing their behaviors by things that they're doing. Then you're going to focus your efforts on making contact with the people that are engaging in your stuff. So last week we talked about, or I guess 2 weeks ago, we talked about 4 core strategies. So this is going to be kind of a continuation on that, right? So what I want to do is just give you a couple of quick ideas on ways that you can get people to start to engage with your stuff. So first of all, you have one that's a little bit more budget heavy, but one that's very, very valuable in the right areas, especially if you're targeting likely sellers, canceled, expireds, even FSBOs, right? This is one that you're going to get a ton of scans and get yourself a lot of engagements, right? Get an instant cash offer postcard that's delivered to their house. Now, maybe I'm not going to do this to my database of 5,000 people, especially when, let's say 500 of them just bought their house in the last 18 months. I'm not going to get the best ROI in that particular arena, right? Maybe if I want to farm a neighborhood, those types of things. But even then, I know I've taught many sessions on, making sure it's a higher turnover rate neighborhood. But again, with today's tech, right, there is so many things that you could do to target sellers, such as the likely movers, right? Now we want to start being able to engage them with that. Okay, the next thing I want to do doesn't actually cost anything other than a little bit of hustle and a little bit of experience and brain power, is being able to post consistently. Okay, so this was part of the core 4 these two, list building is ultimately where these would fall in. This is where we want to be able to market and post our stuff so that we are creating awareness with people that already know us, like us, and trust us is the goal of that, okay? So part of the thing I want to make sure that we're talking about that I think this sometimes gets lost is when you're just posting and you're doing it as a marketing effort, right? First of all, you need to make sure that you're not just posting business, 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 business. Quite frankly, we all know that when we do that, we will stop, maybe they're not going to unfriend you, but they're going to make sure that they either your stuff stops showing up in their feed, right? You can hit those three dots and not engage with their content as much. And so don't do that. You need to make sure that you have stuff that's a little bit of personable, usually a hobby, and then usually, a business, right? I've, again, taught many sessions on some frameworks for posting strategies to be able to get better engagement. Now, the biggest pro tip I want to give everybody on this one is to make sure that not only do you like, but you comment, right? And then even when you go into the comments on their particular page, especially if it's a likely person and they've shown up and you're working them, or it's a canceled or an expired, a client that you sold a house to 5+ years ago, maybe, right? And they could potentially be back in the market. And even though it's a soft conversation, I may go into their comments and actually like the comment and or reply on other comments, comment on their post. Now, the part I want you guys to know about that is when I engage in their stuff, even if they don't respond to my comment or like my comment, by me hitting their particular wall, the algorithms a lot of times will repurpose one of my posts to see because of the friends and the interaction, right? It's picking up on my engagement on their stuff. And so even if they, more times than not, do like my comment back, they're going to be more likely to see my posts, right? And so especially when you have a really cool, unique value proposition as, hey, get a cash offer, let me remodel your house, and you keep the difference. Right? These are really compelling things for people that are certain conversation starters on those. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about here, of course, is it doesn't, again, cost us all that much either. We have to have the tool to be able to send this out. So whether this is your CRM, Constant Contact, MailChimp, there's so many different servers out there to be able to send out your emails. Now, let's take a quick 30-second on this because, again, I know I've said this so many times, but it's so important to the success in email marketing. If you're going to do this, right, first of all, having a compelling subject line is like 80% of the success, right? And then what they call your basically your header text that will show up in the preview text. Right? So those are the types of things that you have where this say what, all those types of things can actually show up. And depending on how sophisticated your email sending service is, you can actually change that and then have it display a different email that's in there. So you can have another, two really good hooks to try to get them to open that email address. Now, there are several things on this that I want you to know. Number one, making sure that you get a list. So like, for example, let's say that you get a list of canceled, expireds, and it's a list of the homes that didn't sell that expired 18 months ago, right? One of my favorite strategies. Now I go in and I skip trace those people. And I get return back email addresses, and then I just go ahead and load those up and start sending them. And I send them, and I'm not paying attention to my email list, I could potentially be hurting my send score, and it's only going to be potentially marking me as spam or promotion list. This is from a group list, right? All you guys know that in the emails that you get, your email provider a lot of times will flag this, hey, this looks like this was sent from a bulk mailing list. Well, part of the ways on how we're going to get through that is actually to pay attention to every single time that you send. I highly recommend that you actually ping your email list. So those of you that are a part of Blast know that your emails that you upload, it's going to ping those emails and actually make sure that it's a valid email address and it's going to deliver that for you, right? Make sure that we can at least deliver that email address or deliver to that email address. That's objective number one. Then from there, we want them to be able to actually be an email that they frequent, right? So if you guys are anything like the population, you usually have anywhere from 2 to 5 email addresses, right? And if we're sending to email 5, one that they don't ever even go, and I'm hammering it month after month, and it's not an email that they engage with, well, guess what? The send scores actually ding you for that. It needs to be an email that they frequent, okay? It doesn't mean that they necessarily need to open your email address, right? They may get your email, see the subject line, and see the preview, but then they don't open it, right? Even if they delete it in that situation, we still made it to the inbox, right? Which is exactly what we need to do. So I know there's a lot there on that too, just because we're a little bit pressed for time. If you guys have more questions on that, please throw them in the chat now, and I will get to them here in a minute, because I want to kind of continue on from that process. So what we're going to do is we are now creating these top levels, right? These are 3 actionable items that all of you can do. If you don't want to do the postcards at first, maybe we replace this with calling canceled, calling expireds, right? I know that that's definitely a time-intensive task. However, you're usually able to create the highest quality leads. Once you get a transaction or 2 that's closed from there, I strongly urge you to put a budget together to where you're going to start either advertising or marketing so that you can communicate your message at a bigger scale, right? And we're going to get into that in a moment, where we can drop a pin, possibly in a neighborhood, and all kinds of cool tactics and things like that. I'm actually going to be really hitting on that probably the next session, where we're going to do everything based on essentially advertising. Okay. So here's the framework of what I want you guys to do. So now that they're engaged, right, with these types of information, when they're engaging with your stuff, you want to get them into Blast. So then from there, how Blast is going to work, it's going to first get them to opt in. And so just in case, those of you guys that don't have Blast, that's okay. If you have an email newsletter, if you have HomeBot, if you have something that you're going to consistently communicate with that homeowner, I'm still going to show you a framework of how you're going to be able to keep your Zoodealio cash offer options, right, which is really a high engagement thing, in front of them. But just in the frameworks of this, just for simplicity, right, this email that you're seeing on the left side of your screen that says your home's cash offer dashboard, right, it kind of pulls them in and gets them to opt in through that whole piece, right, claim your home. This can be done with any one of the things that I just said, okay? So then from there, it's all about making sure that we're providing them valuable content month after month. So now that I've got them to opt in, right, I'm literally halfway home at this point. So now they've engaged, they've clicked, they've liked, I've called them, I've had a conversation or 2 with them. Hey, Rob, it's Elliot. Hey, I just want to let you know I just got you into something new that is actually going to display your home's trends and insights, not only around what cash buyers will potentially buy your house for, because I know you'd shared that you may be selling in the next 24 months, and I want to make sure we keep all of your options in front of you, but I also want you to know the trends and insights of what's going on in your particular neighborhood and making sure that you can maximize this move for you and your family, right? Boom. You get monthly, et cetera. That's how that all goes down. So then now, once they're coming into that, right, every single month they get this engagement or this refresher to where it's now going to be able to allow them to show what their new updated value is for the trends. They can tune the value. So those of you that are on here, the right side of your screen here, this is what the Blast monthly is going to look like. They're going to opt in. They're going to be able to tune their value. They're going to have to be able to see how it works. They're going to be able to actually showcase all of the different options. And there's also going to be really a Cash Plus success story on that. So really, really cool stuff to be able to get these people inside there. Now we start nurturing through them, right? Now we start being able to do this, because before I move on here, part of the reason why I'm being so long-winded in all this, guys, is because, again, it leads into this fact too. It's not cash offer one. It's not, yes, I'll look at this. It's not phone call one that your clients are ready to do something. It's that consistency of 5 and beyond that we start being able to convert them. And so I know that is a challenge, because us as agents, we have so many things thrown at us. But if you take the time to build that process, right, to run your schedule, where in the morning I'm going to call, these my C leads as an example, right, people that are 6 months or more out. Then I'm going to call my B leads, people that are looking to transact in the next 90 to 180 days. Then I'm going to really focus on my A leads, which is where people that are looking to potentially transact in 90 days or less. Right? So these are some of the frameworks of how I want to maybe manage my time and my contact management activities. So I have all of these things running in the background, building and getting leads for me, because again, that way now I'm getting my time back so that I'm focusing on the people that are looking to do something now. But I have systems and processes running in the background, still building value with my clients. I'm capturing their engagement so that when I see that they go from opening the email, my monthly newsletter, or my blast, or my homebot, or my value add every single month, that I'm capturing that engagement, all of a sudden they go from opening it once to 5 times a month or 3 times a month. Well, that tells me that they're ripening. And now I want to be able to engage that lead, right, by what is that motivating factor? Is it price? Is it a new home that they're looking for? Is it a rate? Is it a payment that they're looking to achieve? So these are all different things that I want you guys to start thinking about. Because here again, let me give you guys just a huge pro tip. I was just talking with the president of a bank about this on our, it's one of our partners on the Become a Cash Buyer program. They have a private product called Cash to Win. And the quintessential piece of what it is designed to do from the purchase side is turn the buyer's offer to cash. Well, one of the things we're talking about in this is being able to use that cash to negotiate closing cost assistance. And if you can get that closing cost assistance even on a cash deal, right? It's really cool the way that this works, guys, is you have that letter that basically says, hey, we're going to be purchasing this house in cash, but we're actually reselling it to an end buyer. Here's the structure of how it works, so it makes more sense. So simply put, guys, if we can negotiate, right, a house that's been on the market for 60 days, maybe had a price reduction, right, and now it's definitely ripening. They like the house, it makes sense, it's within their striking budget range. Well, now if I can go in and I can potentially negotiate 3-4% of closing costs, and I can take a portion of that and potentially buy down the rate of 0.25%, 0.5%, well, now I'm really impacting my budget, and now I just created a transaction because the house wasn't affordable, and now it's affordable, right? And if I could do that, and their house is a house that looks like if it had a $20,000 rehab, it would sell for $100,000 more. You just created a bunch of cash for them that they can now use, right? And they also are winning on the buy side. So this is what I'm talking about, guys, when I want you to start thinking about these products and programs of how you are going to manufacture transactions, right? Because when you slow down, you will speed up, right? Slow down to understand them and then speed up by putting them in place. It becomes up to you to communicate the value propositions of each one of these programs and how you solve a problem in the marketplace with it. Okay, so I know that was a ton. But let's go, this is where we really are going to kind of shift and start building to the next session, because again, this is a big deal, and we're going to be talking about the feature that we just rolled out, the partial lead capture. So let me give you guys a little bit of framework and explanation on why this to me is this is badass. I love it. It's one of my favorite things. And it's just, it was kind of honestly, a bit of an overdue thing for us that we needed to roll out. So here's what it is. Here's how it works. When somebody starts to enter in their address inside the widget, right, whether it's on your landing page or on the widget, which I'm going to take you through here in just a second, as soon as they click forward, it captures the address. And it now reports it to you in your back end. So even if they bounce, right, this is exactly why I wanted this Google search. As you can see, this is a actual screenshot, right? This is my search. What is a good website conversion rate for real estate? Well, as you guys can see here, some will even tell you to shoot for an average of 5% to stay afloat. I'm telling you right now, I've never, ever had a website convert at 5%, anything I've ever done from a lead gen standpoint, right? I mean, you definitely would make it rain like crazy. I'm not saying that you can't run one ad or have a 5% conversion for a day, an hour, right? A certain series, but I'm talking about a consistency of time over longevity. 5%, at least in our real estate world, just almost doesn't exist. Right, so it's really more along the bottom there, where it's like 0.5% to 1% of the traffic that you are running to your site that they'll actually register. Okay, so I think that this is a really important piece for us to understand, right? So this includes your IDX sites. This includes any of your other lead sources. I mean, even when you're running something on, get a free home preparation PDF of 5 ways to get a better interest rate in 2023. Right, all of these types of things, even though you have these types of things that you're doing as your lead magnets to get them to convert, those still have pull-through rates at roughly this 0.5% to 1.5%. Okay, so this is where we want to start introducing, the lead capture, right? So as you guys all know, part of being a part of Zoodealio comes with a landing page, right? And part of that landing page, it's going to showcase not only the get multiple cash offer options, it has the call to action right in the center, then it has the couple of different calls to action underneath on how it works. This is the part where I want you guys that are, again, I'm going to go a little more higher level, I guess, here, quite frankly, right? So those of you guys that aren't aware, you have the ability to build custom landing pages and you have access to a widget. There's several different options with the widget so that you can build custom landing pages. Okay, I highly encourage that you start testing this for your market in today's time. Those of you that need some assistance, I would, you could Google A/B split test, or just flat out split test in YouTube, and it will walk you through the different ways that you can do this. Now, just letting you guys know, this can get crazy detailed where people will absolutely split test a certain word in a headline. They'll do, the sub-headline. Hey, how should we have this different structured? We'll split test a color scheme. We'll split test a CTA button, right? For all, what is the pull through? Because when you finally strike gold on these things and you're getting that better pull through rate, well, again, let's just do some simple math. If you have a 0.5% pull through rate and that goes all the way to 1.5%, well, if you're getting 1,000 people, right, 1,000 impressions to per your ad, and 1,000, or let's just say 1,000 clicks, right, to your website from your particular ad. Now that all of a sudden you start running and increasing that conversion rate by 1%, you're talking about massively impacting your lead flow, right? So those are the types of things I want to make sure that you're talking about. You're talking about going from 0.5% is what, basically 5 to 15. In one day, right? That would be the difference of what you're talking about, right? So you're talking about tripling your leads by these types of things. So you're tripling your effectiveness by doing that, right? Which gives you the opportunity to convert more and more. Okay, so once let me walk everybody through this, right? So as you can see where it says enter your home address to get started, right? Whether it's on this one, right? You guys have the ability to kind of change those things, right? And we're actually working on being able to customize this more and more. And again, there are things I want you to think about, places to put this on, is not only having like a main landing page, but what if you were to have a main landing page for a neighborhood farm that you're working? What if you were to have a neighborhood a landing page for a certain lead type? House didn't sell the first time around? Well, let's start off with a cash offer. Right, so these are different calls to action that you're going to resonate, where now you can get those lists, skip trace them, and run a target basically on that particular. I mean, target is a little bit different. You may have to drop more of a pin in a certain area on certain pieces, right? And you can, again, we'll get more into that in the weeks or in 2 weeks from now. But essentially what I'm getting at is where you have these different landing pages that have the call to action per the audience that you're running it towards. And that's where it's so paramount that we're going to get better conversion and more likely to take those strangers to clients when we have the value proposition, we have the answer to their problem, is essentially what I'm trying to say. Okay? So I want you guys to be thinking about, how do I get this on my IDX? How do I get this on can I build this for other landing pages? What other websites, right? Do I have a WordPress site that I can put this on a position and really essentially even backlink my sites together, right? Because all of that just makes everything more effective. Okay, so once you are inside your account, you now are going to have this button here that says partial leads. What is great about this, right, is you will see inside this that it's going to capture these addresses right there. Now, when I click on the three dots, it's going to pull me to this particular page. And this is where some other things down the road may come out for us, to where you'll be able to send a cash offer postcard, right, where they didn't pull through. It'll actually give them the cash offer that they can scan and pull them through on that and finish that lead conversion piece for you. You'll be able to potentially reverse look up that lead so that you could see that, this house on 2653 East 2nd Street is owned by Joe Smith and, Susie Smith, and, with email address and telephone number, right? And so now you'll be able to create a lead on that. You'll be able to put them inside of your, inside a blast, for example, to see if they engage and really start to pull through. And that's what I'm getting at on this, guys, is where we have these top of funnel actions, then how am I going to continue to qualify that lead by showing them, really the features and benefits of the service that you have. So what we're talking about here is the same things I almost talk about week after week, is some form of a funnel. And that's because we're now pulling these people through on this, because at the end of the day, this is what we're looking to do, is take them from strangers to clients. And of course, then once they're to clients, we now run that value proposition on all of those people, so they're never hesitating to refer you. And the last thing I'm going to leave you guys with, and I'll get to the questions here, how we do that, right, and create those raving fans. Think about that framework that I gave you guys before, to where if I can show them a strategy on how I'm going to give them a monthly payment that's going to save them hundreds of dollars. If I can show them a strategy on how I'm going to take their house, or how I'm going to increase the equity in their house by $50,000 or $60,000, right? These are game changer things for you and your business. Now, the one thing I want to implore everybody on this is think about this, because even though it may not everybody may be able to get that $60,000, $70,000, $100,000 in equity bump, but what it does do is makes them curious. It plants the seed and inspires the thought to see what you could do for their house. And that causes them to engage with your content. That causes them to engage with you. So then now, even after you fulfill that piece, and maybe it doesn't work for them, but now they refer you to their best friend that it does work for, and they decide that they want to stay in their house. But hey, their best friend that has, 35-year-old kitchen, and it's in a really great neighborhood, all of a sudden, hey, this starts happening. And so now you start getting lead getters, as I like to refer to it, right? Because you're out there hustling your tail off, you're communicating your value proposition, you are sharing goodwill in the community, and those people start now getting you other leads and opportunities for you and your business. So these are just some solid frameworks, guys, that, again, if you plug into these strategies, it will not only change your business for this turbulent time that we're in right now. These are the things that will allow you to scale your business to any height that you're looking to do. So whether that be to grow your team, grow a brokerage, go from 50 transactions to 100 to 150, et cetera, right? These are all the frameworks at which that you will just scale them up and do them bigger and bigger. Hey, thanks so much for tuning into today's session. As always, remember to like and subscribe, ring that notification bell. That way you are always alerted when we drop new episodes on this. And always go out there, remember to get after it and crush it, and we'll see you on the next one.